All right, so here with Noah Fleischman of the Wolfpacker and On Three. Noah, big day for Wolfpack fans in NC State, and well, I guess really anybody that's watched NC State the last 20 plus years. I mean, I grew up watching Philip Rivers, and now his son is committed to NC State. Gunnar Rivers, class of 2027 quarterback. I'll just come out with a big hot take right here. Is this the biggest commitment in NC State history?
I don't know if it's biggest, but I think it's most one of the could be the most impactful when you look at, who he is, who his father is, the pedigree there, but also, everyone knows who Philip Rivers is and they all now know who Gunnar Rivers is, and I think that will help, NC State on the recruiting trail and building this 2027 class around him. I think that was the biggest part of this commitment is getting him in early. I mean, he's their fourth commitment of the 2027 class, and I think now you can build around him and get other kids on board, just seeing who he is and kind of the level of quarterback that he is.
The family ties to NC State are obvious, but a lot of times kids want to choose their own destiny. Um, how did NC State land him?
Yeah, this is a guy who had interest from the SEC. I mean, Auburn, Alabama, Georgia, some other ACC schools were in the mix, but NC State got him on campus twice last year, one for spring practice, once for the game against North Carolina, and he liked what he saw. I mean, this is a guy who, he was wowed by the SEC environments when he went to games to Auburn. I mean, he's from Alabama. He grew up in SEC country. But when he came on a visit to NC State, from people that I've talked to around the visit, he was impressed. He thought Auburn was a really good environment, and he came to NC State for the UNC game and thought that that was better. And I think that really played a big role in this. And he knew what NC State was as a program. I think, when your father's name is on the side of the building, like it's pretty obvious. But he got to see what it looks like in 2025 and 2026, and he really liked it. And, Dave Doran plays a role here as well, big relationship with the family. And all in all, this was a big time win for NC State, one that they needed to get and one that they locked up pretty quick.
The throwing motion just like takes you right back to the glory days of Rivers at State and with the Chargers in the NFL. What's your understanding of how that evolved? Like if it was something that Rivers himself coached his son, or if it was almost just like genetics.
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly how it came about, but it's pretty obvious they're really similar throwing, and he's a really similar quarterback to his dad. Really smart, can throw the ball downfield, really accurate. This is a guy who's thrown for over 10,000 yards in his first 3 years of high school football. I mean, he takes care of the ball. Only 15 interceptions in his first three seasons. Playing for his father as the head coach down in Alabama. So I mean, this is a guy who, yes, the last name helps, but he if his last name was Smith, he'd still be a really high rated quarterback.
Yeah, let's talk about the rating a little bit because there's all these different sites. You're with On Three. I've seen him listed as a 4-star. I've seen people tweet that he could end up being a 5-star when it's all said and done. And a lot of times with quarterbacks, regardless of that, stars can be deceiving. There's so many intangibles that go into quarterbacks. So I imagine it's hard to even really accurately project to a certain extent. So what's your kind of read on where he's rated now versus maybe what the reality is and what he could end up as, when it's all said and done after a senior year?
Yeah, I think a 4-star quarterback, it's where he is now. I think that's probably where he'll stay. I mean, like he doesn't run the ball a lot. He's just a pocket passer that is really accurate. Can he move up? Sure. Yeah. I mean, anyone can with the big time senior season. He plays really good competition in Alabama. They go far in the state tournament every year. But I think 4-star is fine, kind of right where he's at. When you talk about quarterback rating, CJ Bailey was a 3-star quarterback coming out of high school. I mean,
Yeah.
like the number is really doesn't do a whole lot because you look at CJ, he was number 27 recruit in the class of 2024. And of the 20 guys in front of him at quarterback position have transferred at least once since getting to the college level. So just because you're a 5-star, you're a 4-star, like 3-star even, I don't really think it matters too much. Coaching staff don't really look at it that much when they're evaluating their players, and they get someone who they think is good. CJ was a 3-star quarterback. Some people, if you say you get a 3-star quarterback, he can play well. We've seen that in the last couple of years. A 4-star quarterback obviously has, pedigree and things like that will help. But at the end of the day, he's got to go out there and play, and I think that's the most important thing. And Gunner's a competitor. He'll go out there and do his thing.
NC State's got a pretty good run of landing quarterbacks. I mean, you could say what you want about the rest of the talent on the roster and also retaining quarterbacks. CJ Bailey coming back. I'm sure Kurt Roper has a lot to do with that. I'm sure Kurt Roper had a lot to do with this recruitment. But then the obvious question is, what about Philip Rivers, who's coaching him in high school, does he have interest in coming to the staff? So I guess just take me inside maybe what you do know at this current time about Roper's role in this recruitment and maybe how Philip Rivers could potentially fit into his son's future at NC State.
Yeah, Kurt Roper's really involved in the quarterback recruiting, no matter who they're offering or things like that. Like he doesn't really offer a quarterback unless he's seen him throw in person and really evaluate him in person. He's a big fan of Gunnar Rivers. Obviously, the big situation here is this isn't the first time he'll have coached an NFL legacy quarterback. Early in his career is at Ole Miss coaching Eli Manning,
Wow.
who his father Archie had played at Ole Miss as well. So this isn't the first rodeo of being in a father's spotlight or footsteps, I should say. So I think that will help with Gunnar Rivers could Philip, this is a guy who he's coaching high school football now. People always like to speculate whether or not he'll join the coaching staff at NC State. I don't really know the answer to that right now. I think it would be unlikely at the moment. He has another son that will be a freshman in high school this coming fall, so Gunnar and his brother will play together. Philip made that a point that he wanted to coach both of them. I mean, he interviewed for the Buffalo Bills head coaching job, but I think that was more of just an experience thing rather than actually being truly, trying to get that job. They liked him and he interviewed well, but I think, right now, for the time being, I don't think I see him coaching, anything past high school. Will that change in the future? Maybe, probably, but right now, I think he's pretty content running that program at St. Michael Catholic in Alabama.
Yeah, I mean, and his NFL career is apparently not over either, as he started a couple games for the Colts last season. You never know what's going to happen. Anything else from the notebook that you want to empty out to share with fans? Obviously, you want people to subscribe to your site. You can't give it all away, but anything else worth sharing?
Yeah, I really think this was a big, I mentioned earlier, but this was recruitment that NC State needed to get done. And I think the biggest part of it is they got it done before he took official visits, before he really had a chance to. I mean, he of course looked around other places. This is a guy who's been recruited since his freshman year of high school. But I think NC State's ability to bring him on campus just twice in the last 12 months and get him done before he takes an official visit, that just says everything you need to know about the Rivers family love for NC State, which is pretty obvious, but also the relationship with Dave Dorn. And for those people that might think Dave could be done in a year or two, I don't think so. Like, this is a guy who's pretty content on coaching through his current contract of 2029. And when you bring in a quarterback that's going to be here, in 2027, 28, I think we're seeing something right now that, it's a positive for NC State, not only, in 2027, but beyond.
I guess we got to talk about NIL a little bit before I let you go. I mean, you look at what Arch Manning's been able to do at Texas with the power of the name. Nobody's a Manning, even Philip Rivers, but still, like, this, that carries a lot of weight. I haven't got a chance to reach out to the collective yet to look into it, but what's your read, or what do you know about, how the NIL piece fits into this and how much a guy like that could potentially draw on the market?
Yeah, most quarterbacks have, no matter, what, command, NIL. Don't know exactly where it went, at this point with this recruitment. I definitely don't believe it is an NIL driven recruitment. I mean, this is, a family that doesn't need, money off the top. Will he earn it? Yes, he will earn money in the future, especially if he can earn the starting job at NC State. But, like Arch Manning, Gunner's not a very social media player. And in the NIL era, social media is a big thing. I mean, he doesn't have a Twitter. He's on Instagram a little bit. But I do think once he gets on campus and, gets in Raleigh, we'll see him doing some endorsement deals. I don't believe that will be out of the question at all. But no, I don't think this is a recruitment where you're looking at, they walk up to Dave Doran's office and say, okay, we need X amount of dollars. I think this is recruitment where it's, one of the more old fashioned ones of, we love NC State. I want to play where my dad played. And, if he gets paid while doing it, then that's a great added bonus to it, the whole thing.
Yeah, great business for Gunnar Rivers, and it's a great business for us because this is going to drive a lot of interest in NC State football, and hopefully some wins come with it. Noah Fleischman, Wolfpacker on 3. Thanks for joining us. Check out his work. Your Twitter handle, a push here. What do we got? At Fleischman_Noah. So, yeah, man, thanks so much for joining us, and I look forward to seeing you at some spring practice here soon, which coincidentally starts today.
Yeah, thanks, Pat. I appreciate it.